All right. It's been a while, but we are back yet again right here in Cliff Tone's Corner. I'm your host, your main man here, as always, Cliff Tone. It is great to be back here. I know recording has not been that awesome because the world has kind of sort of stopped turning. But nevertheless, I am here. Nevertheless, I am here to get you guys kind of sort of caught up on all the Big Brother Canada and Survivor that I did not cover while COVID-19 was just making Earth its bitch, pretty much. For this episode of the podcast, I am going to be covering Big Brother Canada 8. Now, if this is something that you've been keeping up with, or if you follow me on social media, you know that Season 8 of Big Brother Canada was canceled, ended early, production ceased, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. There is no more Big Brother Canada. And Big Brother Canada 8 will go down as the shortest North American Big Brother season in history, sliding in right under Celebrity Big Brother at 26 days. BB Can 8 ended on day 25. But let's do a little rewind. And let's go all the way back to premiere night. Now, the cast is something that I covered going into this. I had my Virgo team, Brooke, Kyle, and Suzanne. I don't even like Kyle at this point. You can eat some ass. And my pre-season 6, Hira, Angie, Brooke, Sheldon, Nico, Jamar. These are my babies. My pre-season 6, the Virgo team. I quickly found out I did not give a fuck about after the season started and we got into it and we got feeds. But more on that later. You will soon find out why. Premiere night. I freaking love. First and foremost, just getting into the episode when it started. And just to note, Big Brother Canada can do a theme. And Big Brother Canada will give their damn all to a theme. And the way that this episode started was freaking awesome. The whole comic book-esque theme is just thrown at us and thrown onto us. And this intro is completely comic booky. We have a girl watching Big Brother Canada 7, watching Dane win the game and everything else. And it leads us into, I believe, Arissa on stage and everything else. But this little short segment introducing the episode and getting us ready, I freaking loved it. Super creative, super awesome. Big Brother US could never. Kicking it all off, this season started with our 16 house guests, which I walked you guys all through. You guys can click back to that episode if you do want to get to know the cast. You didn't get the chance to watch Big Brother Canada 8. You want to watch I think it's like 10 episodes for this season. You can go ahead and you can do that. This season was supposed to be 82 days, and again, we ended at 25. May 21st was supposed to be finale night, not, what was it, March 22nd? March 23rd was the last day, I believe. Day 1 was February 29th, and that was moving day. The twists that we had was Save Your Superhero. Canada got to vote on the house guests, and the 4 house guests with the least amount of votes would then compete in the 3 competitions to determine our 2 nominees for the week. That's right. There is no HOH for the first week, and there is no veto. This is all about physically competing, mentally competing, and I believe there was, and then the third one was socially competing to get the votes. So those were the 3 competitions. The third one really isn't a competition. It's sit your butt on the block until Thursday, and we'll see who goes home. Diving into my notes, because I've been going kind of off the top of my head with a bit of this, which I need to stop doing. I'm trying to follow a formula, and it doesn't quite work out. But that's my brain. The first 6 in the house are Kyle, Brooke, Chris, Minley, Angie, and Sheldon. Kyle is the first in. He kind of pause to see if someone else was gonna go in. Our next 5 in: Michael, Jamar, Carol, Madeline, and Suzanne. And finally, our last 5 into the house is John Luke, Nico, Rianne, Vanessa, and Hero. Now, one of the things, not Nico's last in, one of the things Nico says in his confessional during this period of time is, they're going to hate my guts, which I'm totally fine with. This is a direct quote from Nico in my notes. Some mingling's going on, and Jamar and Min Lee connect. The traditional big brother, who are you? Where are you from? How old are you? That circle commences, and we get to figure out a bit about each house guest. Some of this stuff we've known prior to the show, just from watching cast videos with Aika and other things of that nature. So far in the beginning of this episode, Jamar is immediately my favorite personality. He's bouncing off the walls, okay? You feel me? Sheldon draws me in so much more than when he was in interviews. In interviews, I don't know what Sheldon was giving me. He seemed kind of shyish. I don't know. But now here in the show and confessionals and things like that, Sheldon's giving me more. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Sheldon. Tossing it back over to our twist. Save your superhero. And here are the results for that competition. Suzanne, Nico, Min Lee, and Chris are the 4 house guests with the least amount of votes. And again, like I said before, they have 3 chances to save themselves: physically, mentally, and strategically, aka socially. The first comp is a physical comp, and the players are basically tasked to show off their strength. They are holding up cars that are attached to a rope on a little pulley system behind them. And I'm pretty sure that the cars are determined by weight of person. I'm pretty sure they're not just gonna put a 200-pound car up there and have a 90-pound looking Min Lee hold it up. Speaking of which, Min Lee actually wins this physical competition, making her safe for the rest of the week. Which means now at this point, Chris, Nico, and Suzanne are still in danger of being our first week's first 2 nominees. But for now, we are going to take a quick break for a message from our sponsors. So, join me right after this, and we'll pick right back up. And we are back. So, pretty much, Men's Win will end our first premiere night episode. Some takeaways from the episode. A lot of people I like a lot more, like on show and in the DR, than I did in their Ica interviews. I guess that's kind of to be expected. I guess people probably like feel it more in the DR. They're more in the element of it all. But during Ica interviews, it's like, I'm really nervous about going in here. And then for the people that do know Ica, it's like, oh my gosh, this legend is talking to me. What do I say? What do I do? But you know, I liked it. The first episode was very creative. The house is just drop dead gorgeous. Oh my gosh, please lock me in the anime room. As we move on to premiere night episode 2, Arisa teases an unprecedented night, and our previously on begins. Something we've never had happen is teased. But first, of course, we have to flash back all the way to day 1. Mind you, by this point, I believe it's day 8. It should be day 8 by this point, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But anyways, of course, we have to go back to day 1 to catch up to quote-unquote present time. This is our eviction episode. The loss of the first competition really bummed out Nico more than it did Chris. And I really thought that Chris, being one of the bigger guys, he would take this like hard. And he really didn't. The loss for Chris, it really made him pump himself up for the next competition. And he was, was getting ready for that mental. It seems to be an early split happening, but in the house and whatnot. But it's nothing really spoken about yet. But you can kind of see like the way some people are leaning, and I'm really interested to see how the alliances will form throughout the house. And I really wish that, and we'll talk about it later on, I really wish that these people got the chance to play the game a lot more, because again, as I'll talk about later, there was so much potential for a very amazing game. Minley, Brooke, Sheldon, I'll throw Suzanne in there even. Hera. These people, they could have had such amazing games, and I don't want to dwell on it right now because we're not at that point of the podcast episode. But man, and damn. On day 2, Chris and Maddie begin to form bonds and are getting to know one another. And actually, in the next comp, in the mental comp, you'll realize that production's kind of pushing Michael and Maddie together. Like, they really want this thing to happen. So we'll eventually see where in the hell that even goes. But Miss Maddie is kind of liking Chris, and they admit to each other they like one another. But if you've seen it, you've seen it. But later on in like the episodes that we did get, Chris gravitates towards Vanessa, and Maddie does gravitate towards Michael. So hey, there's that. Nico is stressing out about this competition, but Jamar tries his best to motivate him, and it seems like other people are rooting more for Nico than Nico's even rooting for himself. It seems like after the first competition was over, in Nico's head, the entire game was over. Just because he didn't win that first competition, in my mind, he kind of gave up, and he kind of resigned to the fact that, I lost. I'm a loser. I mean, what is there to do now? Nothing. There's nothing to do now. So, Chris is a very, very weird personality, but I mean, it's like a car crash you can't stop looking away from, and especially the way his eyes go. Chris has those crazy eyes, and it's entertaining, but it's weird, and I'm like, but before the competition starts, Nico is alone saying that he is going to give a show. And it's like, okay, some self-motivation. All right, yes, Nico's here. I think he showed up for work today. Our safety competition number 2 is called Sold Separately, and it's hosted by the lovely Angie. John, Luke, back up a little bit. This competition sold separately, as you can kind of guess by the name. What is sold separately? You go into the store, batteries are sold separately from toys. So the house guests, few were chosen, and they will pose as like Barbies. So it's different types of categories of Barbie. You know, you got your biker Barbie, you got your teacher Barbie, you got your drag race Barbie. Well, here in this safety competition, John Luke is dressed as a floater Barbie, and he will be the floater characteristic in the Big Brother house. That person that just tries their best to skate through the game and floats from power person to power person week from week. Maddie and Michael, see what I mean about production pushing them together. They are the showmancers, and this is exactly what I mean about production trying to push them together. Come on. Vanessa was the bitter juror, and Kyle is the comp beast. Now, there's a series of questions that Suzanne, Brooke, and Chris will... No. Oopsies. Damn, is it not... It's Suzanne, Nico, and Chris. Okay, so I'm on track again. It's Suzanne, Nico, and Chris that are competing in this competition, and they will be asked a series of questions about the dolls and their boxes. Mind you, before the competition started, they can see the fronts of the boxes. Competition starts, boxes go away, and they answer the questions. I believe it was 7 questions. And after those 7 questions, Chris managed to pull out the win, which means Suzanne and Nico are our noms for the week. Now, Nico's just over it. Suzanne's over it. She runs to the Expedia room to go cry, and Jamar goes and checks in on her. These two were like distraught. Well, Nico more so, but I mean, it's Big Brother. It's gonna happen. You can't always win. So, I mean, take your L. Go sit down, think about it for a second. But I mean, don't dwell on it. You cannot win everything in Big Brother. That's simply impossible. We get a Hera segment asking about turban choices, and prior to Hero going into the house, he wanted to pretty much show, I guess I'll say Canada, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't thinking like how many of us would see this, but he wanted to show Canada that he's just like everybody else. Yes, he wears a turban. So what? It comes off. He doesn't shower with it. This, that, and the third. And I didn't realize this when they talked about the season being canceled, but now that I'm going back through and going over my notes, I'm really sad that Hera did not get the chance to display that. I mean, we did get that one segment, but I know that there could have been so much more shown from Hera, and we just did not get to see it, and that's very, very heartbreaking. A few of these people did come into the house wanting to, I don't know, show Canada something per se, or so to say. And they never got the chance to, which is like, oh damn. Like someone like Brooke, she was going to play a good game. We just never got to see it, which sucks. Our next segment is a Suzanne segment, and they're showing how Suzanne is going through the house, and she is working it. She is trying to get these votes to stay. She's forming these relationships. She's talking to people. She's finding out about them. She goes to Carol and Brooke, and she tries to form an alliance with Sheldon, Kyle, and Vanessa. And I, for some reason, feel like Sheldon is the odd one out in this group. He does want to blend in, though, so maybe the group will help him do that. But I just don't feel as if Sheldon fits into the mold. But then it's brought up that they're all different, and they can form this alliance. No one can know about it, and then they form other alliances, like Carol. I don't see Carol being in an alliance with Chris per se, but Vanessa did work her way into like being good with Chris. So then whatever information Vanessa gets from Chris, she can bring it to her alliance, and they share that information. As we get closer to the end of this episode, of course, we are getting closer to our first eviction of the season, which unfortunately never even happened, because we get a diary room segment for Nico. I'm about to say Hera. We get a diary room segment for Nico, and after much debating and going back and forth with himself, Nico has decided to walk from Big Brother Canada 8, becoming the first person in BB Can history to walk from the game. Wow. So, tons of people have tried out for this. Thousands and thousands could not make it. You are one of, 16, 18, I said? 18. And you decide to give it up. I think it was 18. But you decide to give it up. Like, what the fuck? So you can imagine just how angry us fans were and how we felt about this. We were not happy at all. No, not whatsoever. But I will save everything else. The alliances, the showmances, the veto wins, the competitions, the one eviction that happened this season. All of that will be on the very next episode. So stay here. You don't want to go nowhere, because that episode is coming up very soon. So that is it. That's all I got for you this episode. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in yet again. I know it's been a while. I need to try to return to some sense of normalcy, since coronavirus has completely upended my life and taken both my jobs from me. So we'll get through this. But until next time, again, I'm your host, your main man here, signing off in Cliftone's Corner. Thank you.